Are you ready for a story? 500 years ago, there's a village near here called Auroville. Now, there was a holy man, a yogi called Kadavali, who was sitting under a tree. He was an ascetic. He didn't eat much, he meditated. He contemplated on his karma. Eventually, an anthill grew around him. It grew higher and higher. He sustained himself by catching leaves from the tree and eating them. He was very, very skinny. Until one day, things stopped growing. The heat from his body, from his meditation, somehow was causing things to become barren. And the lands were not producing anything at all. Now, Valley, a beautiful dancing girl, they danced at the local temple and danced in front of the king, reached out a hand and gradually gave him more and more food until he got larger, put weight on again. The anthill collapsed, and then the surrounding lands of Rumbai came back to life. Now, everybody was over the moon about this, and so they put on a puja, a big party at the temple, and in front of the king. Valley was there. She was dancing, and her anklet came off. Now, the yogi immediately helped her and put the anklet on, but it's forbidden to touch a dancing girl. And so everybody mocked him and laughed at him. How he didn't like this. He didn't think this was fair. He was just helping her. So he invoked the wrath of Shiva, and the lingam of the temple exploded into 1,000 fragments, and everywhere a fragment landed in the area became barren land. And the king pleaded with the yogi, can you do something about this? Can you please reverse it? I am sorry. I'm so sorry. He said, sorry, it's done now. It's irreversible. Except that someday people from faraway lands are going to come back to rejuvenate the place. Now, that's what Auroville is. It's an international intentional community, including Indian people. And the forests are now growing back, especially Sadhana forest here, which for 20 years has been growing more and more, and I'm sitting at the edge of it right now. So the trees are much more sparse and thinner. So there you go. Okay, now you'll have to forgive me. I might get my words jumbled up, so I'm just going to go quite slowly because I'm still knackered, actually, because I came down with a honker of a cold, didn't I, on the journey down to Pondicherry, and so I'm not firing on all 4 cylinders. I'm one hamper short of a picnic. I'm getting the idioms right though, aren't I? As long as you take it slowly, sort of process it. Yeah, so this is my second day. And the first day, I didn't record the savers. Savers are acts of service to the community. Each saver is basically in the morning, the compulsory ones. The first one starts about 6 a.m. You get up at 5:30. You might have a bit of a wander, might go and drop the kids off at the pool, drop off the shopping in the compost toilet, and then we'll meet in a circle, have some stretches. So, when we've greeted each other and wished each other good morning, given each other a hug, we figured out which saver we're going to do, and I just followed people. Yesterday morning, I just followed people, and apparently I was working on the forest, and what I was doing was I was building craters around the saplings, craters that I dug the soil out of the ground and I just put it around the saplings, so that we could put the mulch in the middle and it would retain the water. Because this is actually a dry rainforest. It means that a huge amount of the year there's hardly any rain. So therefore we need to preserve the rain. There was all sorts of science which needed to be used and learned to be able to reforest this place. So, for example, the water table was very low, and so saplings couldn't take. Now, what does retain a water level, of course, is trees with their roots. So what they had to do was make lots of little dells and little concave bits and mounds and little dams and so on to try to make the water table high enough. And they planted pioneer plants such as acacia trees, which aren't native. And actually, a lot of these acacia trees, they were dropped here in 1968 when Auroville first started. But they're not too bad an invasive species, apparently. There's not much to worry about there. But they do hold the soil together, and they can be pruned back. Okay, so anyway, the first saver was that. Remember, a saver is an act of service. And the next saver that I did after breakfast was basically a deep clean of all the shelves and things like that. And then we had lunch. I was late for lunch, and I had to wait. I didn't have to wait. I would have had to wait if they hadn't accidentally served some extra ones, because there's loads of rituals here. Loads of rituals, and you're going to try to get it right, because it's a commune. You have rituals, especially for lunchtime. So if you're late for lunch without giving them any warning, you have to go and either wait to be served seconds from somebody else, or you get up, pick up a bowl of what you want seconds for, the aspect of the meal, take it around, offer it to everyone, and then you can have some yourself. I didn't know about this. I'm just all sort of kind of wide-eyed, but I overslept because I just had a bit of a nap because I was knackered. But they let me off this time. The next morning, I was woken up by the alarm. The alarm, I don't know if it's for the whole area or if it's the alarm on someone's phone, because I can't tell because I haven't got stereophonic hearing. But it was lovely. It was a very gentle alarm. And I don't know, downstairs, had my ablutions, had a wander around the area, stretched a bit, and then I met up with people in a circle, and we did a load of stretches together, conducted by Annette. She's from around Glastonbury area, at least she lived there for a long time. Do you know people that I know? And we greeted each other, said good morning to everyone. And then we got us savers for the day. My first saver was to look after the cattle. They've got a load of rescue cattle there. There's 11 of them. It's a little bit of a misunderstanding, a misassumption that in India, cattle's looked after. Now, the cattle is holy. Obviously, the cow is holy. But they're allowed to wander the streets, and in many cities there are too many of them, and they can't be looked after. I've seen so many that are incredibly skinny, and they rummage through rubbish. And this is a result of dairy farming. It's a consequence of dairy farming. When the cows, when they're unproductive, they're just chucked out. The male calves are useless, and they're just chucked out. So, they're trying to help as much as they can. They can only handle about 11 of them. But they're looked after really carefully 3 times a day. Their area is just immaculate. They get a really good balanced feed, even though a lot of them are quite traumatized. There's one, for example, called Vishnu. Kids stuck firecrackers in his ears, and you can see that his ears are kind of pieces. So some of them are quite traumatized, but they do still love a really good brush, and you'll notice that later on. And of course, there's a misunderstanding about the dairy industry. The assumption that many Hindus have is that it's still done on a small scale that it was 200 years ago, even though 24% of the milk consumption and production of the world is in India, when you've got just over 1/8 of the world's population. A lot of similar problems to in the West. Just the male calves being taken away from the mother straight away, the mother constantly being inseminated, constantly being pregnant. But except the calves aren't killed, or they're taken taken to a state where it's legal to be killed, because most states it's not legal. So, and as far as I'm aware, it's not legal in Tamil Nadu here either. So, Tamil Nadu, by the way, has its own language, Tamil, and it's totally unrelated to Hindi. And lots of the regional languages are almost like dialects to Hindi. Not all of them, but if you speak Hindi, you're not going to have any chance with Tamil. Every word's different, pretty much, except for the the anglicised words. Um, so there's that sever, and then the second one was still near the cows, but I was getting rid of, with my friend Felix from Germany and some other people, decomposing hay. Lots of decomposing hay, clearing it, and it was so heavy and incredibly mucky, and loads of those grubs, those big grubs were in there. I picked one up and put it on my hand, and it sort of tried to burrow into my hand, just try to find the darkness. I don't know what they turn into, actually. Perhaps answers on a postcard you'll be able to tell me. So that was absolutely knackering. I was totally covered in crap and worn out. I'm still aching. So I've had 2 physical savers over the past couple of days. So this evening we're not eating together. I'm just going to go out into Auroville or somewhere else and get some food. But the second day, I'm starting to fit in. Feel part of the community, clean living, no fags, no booze, no caffeine. And it's probably what I need, actually, rather than this New Year, Christmas and New Year, properly larging it in Goa. And I've never been to Goa, by the way. So enjoy. Here it comes. Hopefully a 20-minute snippet, like Julie requested. Hey, all right, I've just arrived at Sadhana Forest. I've precariously balanced everything on my scooter. My big rucksack, my other rucksack, my guitar, and managed to get here. So I'm volunteering here for 20 days. No booze or fags over Christmas and New Year. It'll be good for me, won't it? About 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, it's just paying 600 rupees a day. That's £6. For food and everything. But put my stuff in, and it's community. I'll find out exactly how cold here it is. But I was there 2 days ago, and it was lovely. I'm only in the car park now. The point of Sadhana Forest, or Sadhana Forest, is Sadhana means service, and it's technically part of Auroville, but and they're reforesting the place. It was completely barren. It was quite a big job to do that. Over 20 years ago, they started doing it, and they're making it sort of bigger and bigger. And it's not just about reforesting this place; it's sort of about a kind of consciousness, I suppose. Just arrived in Sadhana Forest. When I arrived, people casually greeted me, and I had a long check-in. I gave them the money for 20 days, £120. And that's food and everything. It's all good. They need some of that to keep sustaining things. It's Sadhana Forest. Sadhana means service, and the aim is to regenerate what was barren land around here. And it's not just thinking that these few people are going to regenerate the rainforests and all of that. It's just about a consciousness, really, so that other people can see the example, and eventually it will spread. It's like a movement, and of course it's in servitude. We tend to be able to contemplate things. We're able to meditate and be aware of what we're doing. And it's all vegan, completely vegan. Vegan isn't really understood in India, but by many Indians. No, veganism isn't understood. There's still the assumption that all farming is really small scale, and no cruelty is incurred to any of the cattle. So Anyway, they've got some animals here that have just made their home here accidentally. They have rescued 11 cows, and they're around here. They're looked after, but they don't tend to wander around this area. They're worried about the monkeys. Monkeys haven't properly invaded. They've come down again, and they've just been scared away with pots and pans. So yeah, here we are. When I arrived, I was apologised to, and I was told that we haven't got a hut for you. Sorry, you're gonna have to share a dormitory. I said, well, I was expecting to share dormitory. There's loads of beds in the dormitory. I saw a few days ago. No, you're over 40. It's that you're over 40. What? Yes. Well, Indian culture suggests that people over 40 are a bit over the hill. You know, aches and pains and things. Yeah, yeah. But I said, well, I've got a bit of arthritis in my big toe. That's quite sore sometimes. We just started wearing reading glasses, but I think I'm all right, aren't I? Actually, a lot of Indians say, "What? You're 47?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, I am 47. What? I guess I look younger. It is what it is, though, isn't it? Really." Yeah, and people say that to me. I go to them, look at that. See that elasticity there. Pull that out. It stays in the same place. That proves that I'm not really in my mid-30s anymore. Anyway, I'll show you around in a bit. Right, so this is my first day here. I just arrived at No Severs, which is services. And it turns out that this evening is the 20th anniversary of when it started. This day, exactly 20 years ago, some of these trees were planted. Planted in a very clever way. There's a lot of science to it, but I'll go into that later on. Yeah, so it's the 20th anniversary, and so there's going to be a bumper feed. Irie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is lovely Arvin, the sweet man he is, stirring some onions and some spices in there, but I'm not sure what spices are they, Arvin?
As of now, just salt.
There's definitely some garlic in there, I'm pretty sure.
Onion and garlic.
Oh, it's onion and garlic, yeah, I can see a big clove of it there actually, yeah. Yeah, so I've joined tonight in exactly the 20th anniversary celebration, which is pretty auspicious. There's probably something you can read into there, into that. Oh. Oh, it's lovely.
Your children eat a full plate. They give you the cue. Can make it a bit smaller. I guess this is too much for you. But for my...
Just saw a firefly when I was having a wee. It's magical. Can you hear that? Morning, it's 10 to 6 and we're woken up by a sort of a very subtle alarm saying good morning, the day is beginning, or something like that. I'm not sure. And now I've got some music on, and so what we do, we get up and we do our ablutions, drop the kids off at the pool and the compost toilet, and have a wander around. And then in a second we're going to meet each other, give each other a hug and say good morning, morning. And then we're going to figure out our tasks for the day, which might well be something very, very physical like it was yesterday.
It could be there. No, it is. So it could be in the...
Right, so these are all rescue cows. They may be taken off the street, or they're ex-dairy cows. They may have been abused, for example. There's one over here called, back over there, called Vishnu, and he had firecrackers put in his ears. So they're quite traumatised, so they need their space. I've just been like following people, waiting like a spare part, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, and now I've got a task, and that's to clean the feeders over there with what's in here. That's their drinking trough. So that's their main feed. That's tapioca, bran, and mixed flours. And other than that, they get lots of scraps from our meals.
Oh yeah, he likes his butt to be scratched.
He likes it at the back, does he? Just there.
Scratching.
Right.
Yeah.
Bum scratching. Right. I'll go for a bit of bum scratch. Bit of bum scratching.
See?
Do you reckon? Yeah.
Going out.
So this is Harry. He's in charge of everyone. Look how he's picking on Benny over there. That's Vishnu getting licked by someone. But yeah, Harry just sort of hogs the brush really. It's kind of spoilt, but we could do it all day long. Right, we're just going to shift this rotten hay over the fence, and we found that. So that's a good bit of protein. Oh yes, Felix, put your hand next to it so you get a size comparison. Yeah. That's pretty amazing camouflage, isn't it? It kind of fits in with I think that's a gooseberry there. Gooseberry or spider? Gooseberry or spider? Don't know, what is it?
Can you get it up?
Yeah. I'm recording it actually.
What are you doing?
Okay, is it can focus? Look at that, yeah. And it's totally still.
Wow. Seen the rat?
Was there a rat? Was there?
You may have recorded it.
Oh, I might have done it. Right, I'm just walking through the edges of Sadhana Forest here. The centres over there. These are where the private huts are. The private huts for over 40s and for families. It's quite sparse, but it's gorgeous because the living area is just a mezzanine really above above the ground, and you can do stuff with whatever underneath. And all you need there is a mattress and a mosquito net, isn't it? So I'm going to find somewhere here so I can sit down and speak to my phone on a tripod. I'm not going to be on a tripod, my phone's going to be on a tripod, and that's going to film it because it's a camera phone. Well, that's it. I've just finished editing it. I'm sitting in the communal area where there's internet, and I'm wearing these glasses. I had to buy them just before I left because I lost my other reading glasses. This is me. This is the mid-40s me. Well, now late 40s. I'm 47. These are the glasses. Look how clever I look. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. That was 22 minutes long. It's knocking on 23 now, probably 24. But hopefully that will suffice for those with most of us really, including me, with short attention spans. That was the first 2 days of Sadhana Forest. Any questions, just give me a bell.